Well, welcome to our students who are joining us right now. This is our first session for today, and we are excited to host the Professionals by Pathway Career Exploration event to help students connect their learning to career opportunities. I'm Pablo. I'm the CT and Communications Director for Young Community Schools, and I'm excited to have Justin Mears from Chick-fil-A. He's the owner, and I would also say probably the manager, lead person there as our guest. And we're going to learn a lot about the business, the industry, and really how Justin kind of came to this role. But as we get started, I just want to remind everyone that we are recording this so future students can access this information. And so we'll have the next 30 minutes to learn about his career field and have students have the opportunity to submit questions if you have any. And it sounds like we might even get a little bit of a tour. So let's just really get started, and just thank you, Justin, for being here today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here and to get to share a little bit about our industry and what we do, and maybe even break down some myths about the industry and those sorts of things. But yeah, I'm super excited to be here and represent Chick-fil-A and the only Chick-fil-A in Thurston County. So definitely excited to get to talk with y'all. So
awesome. So let's just kind of get started with, how did you become the owner? How did you get here to this position? And tell us a little bit about what your job entails.
Sure. Yeah. That would be a long story, but the long story short is after I grew up in South Carolina in a very small town, probably honestly not unlike the size of Yelm and kind of the surrounding area, just a really small rural town in South Carolina. I never really left South Carolina as a kid, but I got convinced to apply to the United States Naval Academy in Annapolis, Maryland, as a high school student, and I ended up getting accepted there, and that's where I went for college for my undergrad degree. So I went to the Naval Academy, and from there became a Navy pilot. And so that's what I did for about 10 or 11 years after graduating college. I got a degree in political science and have not used that at all. So I went and flew helicopters in the Navy for about 10 years, and I went back to the Naval Academy and taught in the leadership department there, taught leadership classes to the students there. So I have some experience teaching 17, 18, 19-year-olds for 3 years. And then after I got out of the Navy, I moved back to South Carolina, and I had been in the selection process to become a franchisee with Chick-fil-A, to become an owner-operator for what ended up being about 3 years. So it took me about 3 years to get selected. It's a very, very competitive process. To get a franchise, they only reward or give out, about 100 of them a year, and have somewhere in the neighborhood of 70,000 people apply. So it's a long process. It just took me a long time to get through that, to get selected, and found out last February that I had been selected, and moved out from South Carolina out to Washington in July. And then we opened up in September and been open for just a little over 4 months now. So yeah, that's the real quick version of how I got here. As far as what I do, I would say at this point I do a little bit of everything. That I own the business, so that may be one of the kind of first myths that you can dispel. I know some other people in our industry, in the fast food restaurant industry, that's what we are. We're fast food restaurant business. Have a much different franchise setup with a general manager and then district managers, and then maybe one person owns 30 or 40 stores. That's not the case with Chick-fil-A. This is the only store I own. I maybe could get one or two more, but you're not going to own 20 Chick-fil-A's. It's just not how it works, because they want the owner to be heavily involved in the day-to-day operation of the business, to be involved in the community that they're in, and be involved in serving their team and serving the community. And so this is the only one I have, and it's my business. And so I own the business. So there's all the things that come along with that. But at this point, I also, only being a few months in, I am heavily involved in the daily operation of the business. So I'm here I probably average 12 hours a day at this point. Just continuing to make sure the business is running properly, and managing, overseeing, every aspect of it. If you've been to Chick-fil-A, you probably know we do things a little bit differently than other businesses in our industry, as far as how we try and get people through the drive-through line and having order takers outside and people running food outside. And so when you add it up especially during peak times, we have, somewhere around 40 to 43 people on the clock at any time. So I employ about 130 people. So it's a pretty significant undertaking for the operation side. And then you add in, all the other things that come along with owning a business, like profit and loss, statements, and trying to make sure we're actually being profitable, and how do we manage food cost and labor cost, and paying bills, and doing taxes, and all those kinds of things that are in addition to actually running the business, day to day. I'm involved in. So that's kind of where I am now. I have about 6 leaders, 6 directors on my team that handle different areas of the business. And I would say the goal, for me personally is, within the first year or two, to be able to actually be more of the CEO of the business, and overseeing the big picture, and not having to be involved in the day-to-day operation of the business as much, and getting to choose to be involved in the day-to-day operation, because I want to be alongside my team and doing the same things my team are doing, but not out of necessity, which is kind of where we're at now. But that's what comes along with, owning a small business, and in the first, few months to years of that. So yeah, does that answer that question?
Yeah. And so if I kind of want to dig in a little bit, you said, it was really competitive to become a franchise owner. And now you've kind of talked about some of the skills and jobs, things that you have to do as the owner. What were the things that might have set you apart in that application that got you selected? And how did you gain those traits or those skills?
Yeah, I mean, the military heavily influenced my, second career, if you will. This is my second career. And so I think I did not have, if there was one thing that kind of flipped that around, if there was one thing that held me back, it was a lack of business experience. And maybe why it took me so long was a lack of business experience. And so having to prove to Chick-fil-A, the brand, that they could trust me with the business aspect of owning a business. I don't think they had any questions about my work ethic, or my discipline, or accountability, or commitment to the role, or my character, or my leadership ability. I had proven those things clearly in my time in the Navy as an officer in the Navy, and learned those skills in my time at the Naval Academy and my time in the Navy. And those are all important things, but for me, it was how do I translate that into showing that that those things lend themselves to being able to run a profitable business, because at the end of the day, that's an important part too, for them in selection. And so I think for me, it was, I worked at 3 different Chick-fil-A's while I was still active duty in the Navy. Not a lot. I would work like 1 day a week, like 1 shift a week, for 3 different owners. And so I got 3 different perspectives on how to own the business. And so to be able to showcase that, I'm committed to the opportunity by essentially working not for free, but I wasn't working for the money necessarily. I was working to gain the experience of what it's actually like to run a fast food restaurant. And the first owner that I worked for was very quick to, he had a lot of, he in Annapolis, when I was back in Annapolis teaching in Maryland, he'd had a lot of other young junior officers like myself come through. And he was very quick to tell me, I will mentor you through this process, and I will help you, but first you have to work in my business, because too many of you come in and think you have this grand idea of what it means to own a fast food restaurant, own a Chick-fil-A in particular. And you spend 1 day in the back scrubbing fryers, and you're like, yeah, this isn't for me. And so there was that aspect too, of just understanding what it looks like day to day. And so that was probably the biggest thing for me, was getting the opportunity in my last few years in the Navy, moving around to actually work in the restaurant. And then I also was getting my MBA, my Master's in Business Administration, from Clemson University in South Carolina. And so I think combination of those two things, like getting the academic knowledge and business knowledge, and then seeing how that applies in this specific industry and in this specific business, because it's franchise within a unique industry. So
yeah, well, that's great. Okay, so you kind of combine some work experience and education to kind of get you here. You talked about, like, that's a lot of employees. I had no idea that you had that many employees that you're scheduling and shifting in. What are some of those jobs, and what's the opportunity? How do those jobs help them progress in the industry, and what else could they do with the skills that they gain from working for you?
yeah, really great question. So, we have a bunch of different, we kind of split people into either front of house or back of house. And some people are so meaning, out customer facing, taking orders, bagging orders, making drinks, making desserts, getting the food to the guests, or in the kitchen, preparing the food. And within that, there are multiple different positions and opportunities and roles for everybody on a day-to-day basis. And for me, I am really big on promoting from within. I will avoid going outside to find leaders if at all possible. I want to reward those within the organization who have demonstrated the capability to be a leader. And so far, we've been able to do that. We haven't, since our initial hiring, we haven't had to go outside and hire any other leaders. We've promoted from within. So plenty of opportunity to move up and advance, take on more of like a shift leader role. So we're actually managing and running a shift. And that, means everything from scheduling breaks and putting people in the right position to the actual overseeing the operation of your part of the business as the shift lead. And so there's a lot of responsibility that comes along with that. And then also, above that, we have director level positions. Like I said, I have 6 directors that oversee and manage different areas of the business, whether it's the operations of the business, administrative stuff, marketing, HR. We have 130 employees, so we have to have an HR director to oversee the human resources side of things. So there's a lot of opportunities that in different areas. Some of our team helps even down to little things like the pictures that we draw on our chalkboard in the restaurant, or helping think of ideas for social media to use on our Facebook and Instagram pages and things like that. Like, there are opportunities that we try and give our team to put the skills that they have or the interest that they have to use, because we kind of are such a wide ranging business. There are opportunities to do things, even if it doesn't initially maybe seem like it would be available in a fast food job as people might expect to put that to use. So, and then I think the skills developed are, the teamwork, working in a team, communication skills, conflict resolution, just hard work. It is busy here. It is extremely busy. We served about 43,000 guests last month in December. I haven't looked at January's numbers. It's a lot of people. And so it stays busy. So that kind of fast-paced environment, handling stress, building some of those soft skills, if you will, as well. And for us in particular, if I'm going to highlight, Chick-fil-A, Chick-fil-A has a very robust scholarship program. Tens of millions of dollars that they give away a year in scholarships. I already know, but I can't say how many we got even in our first 4 months. So they've announced the 2020 numbers, but it's a pretty good percentage of those that applied for a scholarship on my team. My team doesn't know about it yet, so don't say anything. But we'll be in the next couple months be giving away several scholarships to both high school and college kids. And so I think there's opportunity there, even if you're looking at it for a short term, a year, 2 years, 3, 4 years, the whole time you're in college, whatever it may be, to get some of that, benefit as well. And so that's why I think it's a really good opportunity. You pick up good skills, and Chick-fil-A brand does a really good job of trying to take care of those people. And last thing I'll say beyond that is I would say the majority of Chick-fil-A owners come from within. I don't actually have the data on that, but it is they also want to hire from within. And
People
so
who've
they're,
got some type of work experience in Chick-fil-A, they're looking for that connection.
yeah, you will find a lot of Chick-fil-A owners who get presented a really great opportunity at a very young age because they started working at Chick-fil-A when they were 14, 15, 16 as a regular team member, worked their way up to a leadership role, worked at Chick-fil-A through college while they were in college, and now they're on the back end of college and have, like I said, a really, really good opportunity presented to them. But at that point, they have 10 years of Chick-fil-A experience and all this leadership experience, and that's invaluable. And that, like I said, that's something I had to overcome on my end as an external person that they don't. So there is plenty of opportunity to, if you aspire to that as well, to the business ownership side, to have that. So, and I look forward to the chance to being able to hopefully develop, and have several leaders come through my restaurant who get that opportunity, who get to be an owner as well, whether here locally or somewhere else. So
very cool. Okay, so we do have one question that comes in. You mentioned something about marketing and your social media. So while you are a franchise, I mean, Chick-fil-A has its corporate, model of marketing and communication. So what is your role in doing that? How much autonomy do they give you?
Yeah, a lot of autonomy in general with the business. Chick-fil-A's kind of corporate role, their headquarters is actually called the support center, and so everything they do there is to support local operators. Like, we're the heart and soul of the business, and especially the way that our model is set up. And so they have corporate marketing. We have national campaigns. Right now we have the winter campaign, this new spicy grilled deluxe sandwich and chicken tortilla soup. So they have quarterly national campaigns, and they run national advertisements all the time. You may see them on TV. So they have national level marketing, and we have a regional level marketing. We have a regional level marketing director that kind of helps our market of the Puget Sound operators here in the greater Seattle area, with providing some pictures and posts and those kind of things that we can use. And so we allocate some money to that for like the regional marketing budget as well. But the vast majority is, honestly, right now it's my wife. My wife does most of our admin marketing stuff, but we get some help from the team members. And so the vast majority of it is on our own, but there's all kinds of support from the support center that they can provide, and access to all kinds of images and the things you need to run a successful marketing campaign that corporate provides for us. We just kind of make them our own. Yeah.
Great. Awesome. Well, we still have about 10 minutes left, and I'm sure that there's things that you talked about showing us. So if you want to try to get mobile here, maybe a little bit on a tour.
Let's do it. Let me grab my phone here, switch over. Got a mask up. Hold on. All right.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All righty.
So a question has just come in. What is the minimum age to work at Chick-fil-A?
Yeah, so our minimum age is 16. Currently, we're hiring mostly 18-year-olds and above, but that doesn't mean someone can't apply if they're not 18. We just had initially hired a lot of minors. So I'm going to adjust this because it is giving me a lot of feedback.
Okay. And I can talk a little bit about minor work laws. In the state of Washington, they have rules for 14, 15, 16, 17-year-olds, how many hours they can work, how late they can work in the day. And so 18 allows you, whether you're still in school or not, if you're 18, you don't have to follow the minor work laws. But there are some other stipulations that businesses have to follow when you hire a minor.
Yeah, and it's not, and that's definitely part of it, but it's mostly the hours piece of trying to fit in a bunch of 4-hour shifts makes it. And honestly, it was just because we had so many. I think even still now we have like 57 minors, so we have plenty of minors. But yeah, 16 is the minimum age, and we are actively hiring. So feel free to fill out an application if you're 16 or older.
Great.
All right, I'm gonna flip this around. All right, so maybe some of you have come to Chick-fil-A here in Lacey in the past few months, but it's been drive-through or here's one of the, I was talking about the art that our team does. But it's been drive-through or curbside only, so you haven't seen inside. So I'll give you the sneak peek inside the restaurant that no one has really seen unless you work here. So it's very big. We have a large dining room. It's not obviously set up with tables and everything yet, but hopefully really soon. You can come in here and eat, and in the next couple months, that's the goal. So hopefully we get back to being able to eat inside, but that's our dining room. Here's our kind of mobile carryout or our carryout station one day as well. And then here's the front of the business. So we'd be set up here to take orders one day. We don't have, oh, that's Ron. That's our HR director. That's Taylor. Set up here to take orders one day, but right now this is just set up as this is our mobile drink station. So we converted what was an order taking station when we knew we were going to be drive-through only and curbside only into a mobile drink station. So now we can do the same thing we can do in the drive-through for all our mobile orders, because we do a lot of DoorDash and mobile curbside orders. And so having a dedicated, basically we have where we would have before only had one setup for drive-through for outside stuff. We have an entire second setup here for handling nothing but mobile orders. So bagging mobile orders, doing drinks for mobile orders, the same way we do in the drive-through. And then this is our bagging station. So we'll have a mobile bagger over here bagging mobile food during peak hours. And then Sophia's right here bagging for drive-through orders right now. So she's got her screen there, and she's, as things come through from the kitchen, bagging them up as quickly as possible, getting them over here where someone will check the order, make sure it's right, put all the sauces, napkin straws in, and then Maria's over here at window and giving the food to the guests. Try not to show the guests. They probably don't want to be videoed. And then over here is our order taking station in the morning, where we take orders via headset from our speaker box. But if you've been to Chick-fil-A here, you probably know that come lunchtime, we'll have 3, 4, maybe even 5 people out on iPads taking orders on iPads. So that's one area in which Chick-fil-A has really leveraged technology and gotten out ahead of the game there. And just kind of filling you in on maybe compared to the rest of the industry. One of the cool things in the reason that part of the reason why Chick-fil-A provides autonomy to individual owners is a lot of the innovations that you see that Chick-fil-A is known for, that increase speed of service and efficiency and those sorts of things. Those came from individual owners who were like, man, I just cannot get cars through my drive-through line fast enough, and we're really busy. What's a way I could do that? And so they came up with the idea of, what if we had our point of sale system on iPads, and we went outside, and instead of having 2 order takers, we can have as many as we want, as many as iPads as many as the kitchen can handle. And so that was an individual owner, coming up with that, change that then became a chain-wide thing. And there's plenty of examples like that. Even during COVID, the explosion of mobile curbside, a lot of the advancements in that were because individual owners started doing that on their own. And Chick-fil-A was like, there's something here, and they made it a national thing. So it's kind of cool to see how a lot of the advancements in technology that you associate with Chick-fil-A came from just individual owners deciding, hey, there's got to be a better way to do this. And so, so once we hit lunchtime, we'll be outside, rain or shine. You might have seen us in our rain pods that we have. We have some rain pods that team members wear, and they'll be taking orders outside from probably 10:30 to about 8 o'clock at night. So that allows us to obviously get more cars through the drive-through line. We'll have people outside as well, running food. So The window person then changes from handing out the food to the guests and taking their payment, because we actually take all our payment outside as well. So no payment is really taken inside after breakfast. And so it just allows us to get way more cars through, because each order taker is taking payment. And then we'll have 2 to 3, we call them runners, but we have 2 to 3 people outside that the window person is trying to get the food to them, and is basically coordinating, handing food to the different runners, and they run back in the line and give the food to the guests, and that way we can get more cars out of the parking lot or out of the drive-through line. And so that's pretty much our setup up front. I will quickly give you a glimpse of the back, but I can't really show you everything back here. But we got a prep table for making salads, 2 sides where they do, one side they'll do sandwiches and stuff, the other side they'll do nuggets, and then our fryers are back over there. So they make the chicken. Everything is hand filleted and hand breaded, and then this is all of our storage area. So back here in the back, but that's just a real quick tour. Nothing too crazy in the back.
Nice. So a couple of questions have come in. You talked a lot about tech, and so do you have somebody fully dedicated to supporting your tech, or is that done remotely and contracted out through corporate?
I don't have anybody. Oh, give me the feedback. Go away from the computer. I don't have anybody dedicated to tech on the team per se. I do the majority of, because we do have issues that come up. Card readers stop working, not connecting to Wi-Fi. All kinds of things happen, and so I handle most of the tech-related issues right now, and that's with a lot of support from corporate. They have a whole tech department. We have essentially a tech rep that is assigned to our restaurant and those sorts of things. But I do know other operators and owners who do have a dedicated tech person who handles all their IT stuff, especially if they have multiple restaurants. So
great. And so I'm going to wrap this question and kind of my last question to you up, since it'll probably take us to the end of our time. But to work there and to get started there, is there any education level or any kinds of things that you're looking for in an employee? And so if I rephrase that, what should students be doing now? What kind of skills and experiences help them get employed with Chick-fil-A? And what could they start doing in their high school career to be prepared for that?
As far as education level, no, there's no necessarily education requirements. If you're post high school, we definitely, want you to have your GED at least and or high school diploma. But outside of that, honestly, no. Like the skills side of things, we can teach anybody here on the skills needed to do any position in the restaurant. To be honest. When I'm evaluating candidates, it's more about the person and the character, and do your values seem to align with the things that are important to us here? Because in addition to, trying to be technologically advanced and efficient, Chick-fil-A is known for its customer service and what we call second mile service here. And so those are the big things that help us stand apart as a brand. And that's what I'm looking for more is who are you as a person? How do you work with other people on a team, and what are the things that you value, and do those values align with our values? So
what would a student show you, or what could they be doing right now that would demonstrate those skills to you through an application and a resume?
On an application, I honestly, it's pretty simple. Like answer the questions on the application, to be honest. Like if you give me a one-word answer, you say, like, why do you want to work at Chick-fil-A? And you say, because I need a job or something like that. That's kind of an instant, demonstration of me of a lack of commitment or real desire to be a part of the team here. The candidates who have the strongest applications and tend to end up being the strongest team members from an application perspective are the ones who you can tell put thought and effort into actually answering the questions on the application and making it personal to them. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Justin, I can't thank you enough for your time and sharing your new business. And you sound like you're doing great work and being very successful. Appreciate you giving the insight to our students. And I'm going to have to come through the drive-through soon.
Yeah, it's absolutely my pleasure. And thank y'all for tuning in. And yeah, I look forward to, if anybody, decides to fill out one of those applications, look forward to meeting some of y'all, hopefully either in the drive-through or in the dining room eventually. So.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Justin. Have a great weekend.
All right. Yeah, you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.